7 p.m. So I want to welcome everybody being here tonight. I am your Carolinas District Secretary, Leah Moretz, and this is the first official free webinar from the Carolinas for the 2024 year. And we welcome our CKI administrator slash my assistant slash district trustee, Jennifer Hethcox. As far as technology goes, I don't know many others, maybe some CKIers, but many others that know technology as well as her. And when Joe and I were brainstorming ideas for Joe Krosnick, our district treasurer, when we were brainstorming ideas, we were like, we need to get Jennifer to do this. And she piped up and, she said yes. She's a super busy lady, so I hate to keep her waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Well, thank you, Leah. And thank you to all of you that have signed up to attend. I'm so glad to see familiar faces and some new faces tonight. So as Leah said, I'm the district administrator for Circle K International, which is our collegiate branch of Kiwanis. I've been in education for 15 years. And I am now, this is my first year as the technology and learning coach for one of the elementary schools in Richland too. So that's what I do for my paid side of life, and then my volunteer side is this stuff. So but we're going to talk tonight about newsletter platforms. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but before we do that, before I share my screen, I have a poll for you. So this should pop up. It's been a while since I've done one of these in Zoom, but it should have a poll, and there are 2 questions that I'd like for you to go ahead and answer. How do you currently send out club communications? So an attachment, MailChimp, constant contact, postal mail. We do not use mass communication or another method. And then your second question is, what is the most important aspect of communication? So if you can take just a moment to answer that poll, I'll give everybody a chance. And this just kind of gives me a sense of where you are in sort of your club communications. And if you don't do a newsletter, maybe it's just your reminders for meetings.
One quick question, Jennifer.
Yeah.
That last question you had on there, I can track. I think it said readables or something.
Readership. Yeah. It's like your report, so you can tell like how many people have read it or clicked on your links.
I got you.
Yeah. Analytics of your.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
That's what that means. All right. And those of you just joining, I have a poll up. Hopefully you can see the poll. If you could answer those 2 questions really quickly, and then give everybody just another maybe like 30 seconds or so to answer those 2 quick questions about how your club communicates. And if you don't do a newsletter, maybe it's like mass email to remind them of events coming up or projects or meetings. So. All right. Well, this gives me a good sense of pretty much where everybody is. So majority of you do an attachment via email. So I will have some information about that. One of you uses Constant Contact, and some other of you use other methods. So if you don't mind really quickly, PortalBuzz. Yeah. So PortalBuzz is right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Leah. PortalBuzz is the option that's going away. Is that when they're changing from the website? And so this was one of the main reasons Leah and the district asked for this workshop to be held, so that you have some options as PortalBuzz is leaving. And what is the date of that? Do you know the date, Leah, when that is ending?
Yes, February 29th.
Okay, so it's coming up fast. So this is helpful for you, hopefully. So I'm guessing those that chose the other method, is that what you were using as Portal Buzz? And you can unmute yourself if you would like, if not.
Yes, and that's why I'm here, to figure out what we're gonna do, because it's what
Okay.
we use exclusively.
Okay, awesome.
So.
Awesome. Well, that's what I thought. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. And we're gonna take a look at what we've got. So I don't need to share the results, so we're okay. All right. Well, welcome again. Those of you that just are coming in, I'm Jennifer Hethcox. I'm going to be your facilitator this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and find my screen, share that. Let me go into present here. All right. So let's see. There we go. All right. So we are going to talk about some different newsletter platforms. Most of these I have used, and I've actually what we typically do is after the webinar, Leah obviously will put the recordings, make the recordings available, and then I will also make sure she has a copy. She has a PDF copy of this, but I'll just double check. I have some embedded links into the presentation that will provide you with some additional information, so that you, if you want to dig a little bit deeper on something that maybe I don't cover in depth, you'll have those links to do that. So, all right. So newsletter platform. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about what's the purpose of your newsletter. So really thinking about the why and what your purpose is, and that will kind of help drive what option you choose. I'm going to talk about a couple of different platform options. Those of you that are sending email communications, this might be an opportunity for you to look at a marketing platform, and kind of what the pros and cons of those are. And then we're going to take a closer look at a couple of platforms. There are hundreds and hundreds of different platforms out there. A lot of the platforms, and even ones that I have not even heard of before, but as I was researching to see what other options are out there, a lot of them do cater to nonprofits and will give a discount. I think the most I saw was 30% off. And for the most part, these are, so being in education and a teacher, I'm always looking for free. And if it's not free, close to free. So we are always trying to find that. So if you are in education, there are some benefits to that. So you can kind of use that, which is how I have Canva Pro, is because I'm in education. And so we have that. But if you are not in education and don't have those kind of connections, a lot of them do offer very affordable options. So I really kept budgeting in mind. And then I'll leave the end for some questions that I will attempt to answer. And if I don't know, I will just tell you I don't know. And I forgot some of this Canvas stuff. I know, Leah, you emailed me about that today, and I just saw it and I forgot to go back in and delete it. But anyway, so what is the purpose of your newsletter? So I want you to just kind of think about that for a moment as we go through. Like, are you really, is it to reach your members? Is it to reach potential like donors or speakers? Is it to target prospective members? Is it a combination of above? I would guess that most of you are reaching all three of these folks. Is there anybody that's trying to reach someone with your newsletter / emails that is not on this list? All right, hearing none, then I can't really see your faces. I'm going to do that there. That way I can see some of you. So I think this is probably from, I used to do the newsletter for our club, and it really targeted just our members, but every once in a while we would send it out to our speakers and people that we might be courting for like our golf tournament or something like that, just to kind of keep them updated. And then of course, prospective members that have visited the club, just to share with them. So just think about that. And then also, if you are the one that's responsible for your budget in your club, think about what your budget is. For the most part, probably most of us have a zero per month budget, but if you have a little bit of money, maybe less than $100 per year, there are some options for you. And if you are lucky enough to have a lot of money and you want to go fancy with your newsletters, and really dig into some of the reporting and the analytics of it, then you might consider some of these other options. So all right, so we have four options that we're going to talk about tonight specifically. And I kind of highlighted some of the great things that they offer just on this first platform. So the first one that we're going to dig into here in a moment is Constant Contact. And this is one that the district actually uses, and some of you may be familiar with this, but Constant Contact is great because it does provide email templates, and they have a variety of things, and we'll talk about that in a minute. They do great reporting, and Brian actually asked this question earlier about the reporting, but if you're not familiar, or if you haven't ever used like a marketing platform or an email platform before, if you're any kind of data junkie like I am, these kind of platforms will be helpful because you can actually drill down and see who has opened your email, how many clicks have they done, actually how many times they've read your email. And so you can really see who are your active members that are paying attention and who are the ones that are not. And then you can also maybe think about, well, if our newsletter is not reaching this particular population or this particular group of members, or just these members in general, how can we reach them? And that might be something where you send a survey or have a survey member meeting and say like, hey, I noticed that you're not reading our emails. So a lot of these options do provide that reporting and analytics. Constant Contact is a paid service, so it ranges in price anywhere from $12 to $80 a month, depending on what you need. And when I looked at these platforms, I really chose kind of the lower ends, because we typically, unless your club is sending out 50 to 100,000 emails, 50,000 to 100,000 emails a month, I just picked the lower ends, and most of our clubs are less than 500 members. So you won't need, the big professional emails. And those are obviously designed for like big organizations or big businesses and that kind of thing. And then the next one we're going to talk about is MailChimp. And this is one that I personally use as the district administrator. Again, it provides email templates, reports. It has a variety of prices. I use the free version. That it does what it needs to do for me, but it does go up to $20 a month for just general things. And then if you're doing an email mailing, I've got some things that you may want to consider as using that. And then I've got some other paid services that offer nonprofit discounts. Some More is something that we use in education a lot. My principal uses it. It is a paid service. And then there's some other ones that I've put here. This link right here will actually take you to a big article about all kinds of other paid services. I'll touch on a few, but I'm not going to go drill down into each of them. I'm just going to leave that there for you to explore a little bit more, but you can go in and kind of see all the different areas and kind of compare and contrast and see which ones you like. So if you are using just email, or if you're just emailing, why would you want to consider something like a Constant Contact or a MailChimp? So why would you want a platform? So I've mentioned this already, but a lot of the pluses for a platform is that you actually have design templates. You can kind of manage your list depending on which program you choose. You could like segment the list, so you can have it target if you have senior members, or if you have new members, or members that have sponsored other members, or maybe you have just a list for your advisors, or if you've got like a bunch of SLPs and you want to just target those, you have those kind of things. So that's that list management. A lot of times you can personalize it. So you can actually do what we would call like a mail merge system. And it would like say, Dear Jennifer, and then it would have the email. And so you can use that. And then of course, I've talked about the reporting, and that's really great, just to make sure that people are actually reading your messages. And then you can actually, so what I do, and I'll show you this in a minute, but when I create my monthly newsletter, I just go in, make a copy, and then I go in and make changes. So it does make it a little bit easier to do that. And I've got all my links embedded in there, and I can attach documents and all of that kind of stuff. So to get into some of the platforms, so we'll start with Constant Contact first. I've highlighted a couple of things just to kind of let you see what the differences are in terms of like what they would consider a light plan, which is probably going to be the best fit for most of our clubs. It's 500 contacts or less. This would have one user sign in, and you have about 1 gig of storage. And probably you're not going to, ever reach that, but that's just to think about if you're doing a lot of pictures. And you can make them smaller so that they don't take up as much space and delete and that kind of thing. You are limited to monthly emails, but that's 10 times the number of contacts. So 5,000 emails, which I don't think any of us are sending 5,000 emails. The great thing about Constant Contact is if your club does have events and you need to sell tickets, or you need people to register, they do have event management within Constant Contact. So that is a plus to Constant Contact in terms of what the other programs offer. Most of them are just email marketing type platforms, whereas Constant Contact does have this event management aspect, and that's really helpful. You can link it to social media marketing, which is also great. And then of course you can take like third-party services like PayPal. And then just if you really have a lot of emails that you're sending, or you just want more storage, you can step up to the standard. And there's everything that's in the light, plus some pre-built automations, contacts, segmentations. There's an A/B subject line test, and I'm not an expert on this part, but from my research, what I could tell is basically if you want to test these like two groups and you want to send these two emails out and you want to see like which one does better, that's kind of it. And there's a little bit more detailed reporting for the standard. But most likely for our clubs, the light plan would work just fine. So what does it look like if you were to do like a newsletter? This is kind of the way the platform works. And from my experience, most of the marketing platforms are set up very similar. So if you've used Portal Buzz and it has a build out system like what you see here on the screen, MailChimp is very similar to this as well. So they all have their different quirks, and you have to get used to it. But after you kind of, get used to it after a little, like an email or two, then you're smooth sailing. So, but they all pretty much have about the same thing where you can change the text, and they have layouts, and some of them are getting into the AI where you can creatively tell the AI assistant, hey, design my newsletter, and it'll do it for you. But this is a typical like layout that you can see here. And then up here at the top of the screen, you can kind of see the analytics that come with it. And this is just a quick glance. So this isn't drilled down or anything like that, but we sent the email to 31 people, 28 opened it. So 90%, which is excellent. I think industry standard, and Leah, correct me if I'm wrong, is like 40, 45 or something for open percentage.
41%.
41. Okay. So 90%. Phenomenal. Then 20 people clicked on a link within the email. We had no bounce backs, or no unsubscribes for this particular one. So that one is really helpful in knowing like, oh, okay, I've got everybody's email correct and no one has decided to, leave this email. list. So that is
Quick question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Does the unsubscribe mean the unsubscribe to everything you might send them, or just to that particular email?
So,
Everything.
yeah.
Everything? That's
For
what I was
constant
afraid
contact.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that's typically, I think, true across all the platforms, is once you've unsubscribed, because it's an email system.
Okay.
Yeah. You're telling
It's a
it.
federal law that they have to abide by.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And to get somebody resubscribed is not easy. So it's a process. So that is, the general gist of Constant Contact in terms of kind of what it looks like. But it's relatively easy to use. You can schedule your emails to go out. So a lot of times people will tell you that there's certain times of the day that you want to send your emails, certain days that you want to send your emails out. And then you can start to see that if you switch your days around. You might see that one is higher than the other, and then you can kind of do your own data analysis. All right, so then we're looking at MailChimp, and this is one, as I mentioned before, that I've used for many years. And I use the free plan. I have less than 1,000 contacts. It's just me logging in. They do have some email templates that you can use. I've always built my own out, but they do have some. You can connect to your favorite apps and web services, so they have different things that you can connect to. You can actually have it upload straight to social media as well. So you can connect your social media account to it. It is some limited reporting in the free plan, and you have some access to the creative assistance. I think it's just, like they offer 100 under the paid, maybe like 10 or 20. I've not really used that as much, but they do have it's getting better and better. And I've used MailChimp for so long that I just have a certain template and I kind of go with it. And then you get into the paid subscription. So you can kind of see that the users increase, the contacts increase, you get a few more things. If you go up to the 20, you get more reporting, but I'll show you on this next page that.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, on that slide with the free plan that you use, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I see it's only got one user, right?
Right.
So of course you're the only one with all that knowledge. Okay, so what if something happened to you? God be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, one person with all that knowledge, if you decide to stop doing it, can anyone, I mean, are you the only one that's got that knowledge that it won't go on? You can't pass it on to anyone else, or what?
Well, so I would recommend, so like if you're thinking about doing this for your club and you want to use the free plan just to try it out, you may want to use a generic club email address so that everyone has access, or the officers have access to it, so that if something were to happen and I were to leave and go move to Switzerland or something like that,
Of course, yeah.
the moon or whatever, and I didn't have access to the internet, then somebody could log in. So right now, obviously mine is under my email address, but as a club, you could set it up under your own email address, and that way everybody, people have access to it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. So MailChimp, you'll notice, looks very similar to Constant Contact, their formatting. So this is my January newsletter, and over to the left, you can see you've got headings, paragraphs, buttons, and actually MailChimp's just kind of upgraded their system. Of course, because I have the free, they're going to ask me down here at the bottom, do you want to upgrade this? And you can choose different styles, and there's different layouts. You can add things, and it's really just a drag and drop system. So Constant Contact's the same way. Drag, pick what you want, drag it here, drag it up and down. The one thing that you'll notice with the free versions of most of these platforms, if there are some, is that they're going to have their company branding on there. So at the bottom of my email or my newsletters, it's always going to say MailChimp on there because it's free and they're getting, that's their marketing. If you upgrade to some of the paid ones, a lot of times you can remove that marketing for them. But you can see up here the October newsletter that I sent out had 74% openings and 14% clicks. And actually I caught the screenshot. It fluctuates back and forth between the total numbers and the percentage. So I just caught it on the percentage when I did my screenshot. But I can click here and go to view report and it gives me a more detailed report. And actually my free version, I can click view report and I can go in and see who's opened my emails and how many times they've read it. And actually, I think it even tells me how long they spent on my email. So, so the free version of MailChimp, if you want to, if you're like, I got to leave Portal Buzz, I'm not sure if I want to commit to Constant Contact, you could try MailChimp for a little bit and kind of see how you like it. And then maybe you decide to upgrade to the next level. Because they're all relatively, the same price, which is nice, but they're not like super astronomical. So if you're not convinced yet to try an email marketing platform, here are some advantages to it. You can build a variety of email lists. So I'll just use Constant Contact, for example. In Constant Contact, we have a list for all the club presidents and all the club secretaries and all the club marketing chairs and all of the club membership chairs. And so even in MailChimp, I differentiate between faculty advisors, Kiwanis advisors, Key Club, district board members, all of that kind of stuff. Just friends of CKI, whatever it is, past governors, lieutenant governors, all of that kind of stuff. So that is what's nice about using these marketing platforms. They do come off very professional. And the other thing about the platforms is that they will self-fit, I don't really know that that's the correct term, but we'll make it that way, to be readable on a computer and on a phone. So if you've ever gotten an email on your phone and the formatting's all weird, or it's like looks like it's cut off, that is the advantage to some of these marketing platforms, because they will automatically fit. And I think, I have to remember, but I believe in MailChimp and in Constant Contact, you can actually click, I want to look at it on the phone, I want to look at it on the tablet, I want to look at it on the computer. You can see that. I know that one of them does it, and I just can't remember exactly which one. Again, with
That's
the list.
Constant Contact.
Okay, good. I knew it was it was one. And I do think they offer that on MailChimp as well. But I knew there was one for sure. Thank you, Leah. You can target donors if you're thinking about, sending things to people that have donated things to your golf tournaments or helped you out, or prospective members, with a more direct message. So you can segment those out. And then it's just really easy. But my two of my biggest advantages that I really like are obviously the reports, because I can tell if someone's opened it, clicked on things, and then it's a relatively easy design and it looks professional. So if you're not convinced yet, you could try MailChimp just to try it out. I will say sometimes I feel like when I learn these, they're a little clunky at first, and then you kind of get into the groove. But it's definitely worth trying it out. So if you're like, nope, we're gonna stick with email, that's the best way we do it, we just like it that way, we don't really care about the reports, you can certainly send mass emails to your club. And if you don't know this already, both Word and Google Docs have templates for newsletters. So before I really knew about Canva, which is the program I'm using now, I used a lot of Google Doc templates, and those are really easy. Our school district is a Google school, so We do most of our things in Google, although I'm still a Word and Microsoft girl at heart. There's just some things that those programs do better. But now Canva, and with all of the AI, if you haven't used Canva before, it is free. It's limited as a free entity, but it's a design element. So you could also use that. And that's a whole nother workshop, the design. So I'm just going to kind of hit on these, but there are some things that you can do if you use a Google Doc template or a Word template that you can do besides just attaching it. So I wanted to share those with you. So if you want to send your newsletter as an email, you can do that, and there are steps to do it. And this is a link to more detailed steps that you can see, but I've just kind of like hit the highlights. But basically, it's just a copy and paste. So if you're using Google Docs, you can go in and search a template for newsletter, or even in Word, you can do that. You create an email. You take your newsletter and you just copy the whole thing and you paste it into your email. Now, there will be some formatting that you'll have to do. And I do have some advantages and disadvantages, but did I hear a question? Is there some question? Okay. The other thing that I would remind you of is to make sure that you put all email addresses in the blind copy line. So making sure that you're not sending that out, and then you hit send. So the advantages is that it's easy, it's cost effective, and it's really simple. Some disadvantages is that, so when I was playing around with it today, because I haven't used it in a while, I just pulled one of the newsletters off of the Word template, which had a lot of pictures. And when I went to copy it and put it in my email, all the images disappeared. So those can be some issues. So you could have image errors. It could look sloppy, and it also doesn't naturally format to the width of the screen. So when I looked at it on my phone, I could only see like half of it. And then when I looked at it in my email box, I had to do the whole scroll over kind of thing. So people aren't always willing to take that extra time to scroll over. They want it just right there on their screen, and especially if they can't see it on their phone. But that is an alternative to sending it as an attachment, but an attachment is an alternative to doing it this way. So that would be obviously the free version. There are some new technology ways that if you want to track your emails. So I found this company called MailTrack. And again, this is a link to the company, and it tells you a little bit more, but it will actually track your emails from your Gmail account. If you have a Gmail account and you're using that, it ranges from $0 to $10 a month. You get email alerts and daily reports as to who's opening your emails and that kind of thing. And that again you'd want to send that through like a club email if you have that. And then Gmail does give the option to mail merge. So if you want to have it so that it's like personalized, and it's kind of, that's essentially what Constant Contact and MailChimp do, is that they're mail merging. They're taking from a list and sending individual emails to people. And so if you want to do it that way, there are a few companies that kind of offer that services. Some only work with sort of that advanced Google workspace, which would be like in education, we have it. You can get a nonprofit Google domain. That's what we have for Carolina's CKI. Google's made it a lot more difficult to do it. I actually tried to secure one for our women's group at church and got totally blocked. There's several hoops to jump through. Now with Google, they're really like cracking down on their nonprofits. But if you're able to do that and you get your own domain and you want to kind of tackle that aspect of things, Google has a mail merge where it just literally, you click a button in your Gmail and it creates a mail merge with it. But there's other companies and there's other extensions you can get to add to your browser. So your internet browser, you can get an extension and it'll interact with that. So I want to leave time for questions, and I didn't, and I can go back and click on some of those links if you'd like to see some. I can show you my MailChimp account if you'd like to kind of see that and see how all of that works. But what I want you to kind of look back at is what is the purpose and what is your budget, so that you can kind of think about which one of these might be helpful for you. And then I can also answer some questions. I'm going to leave my email up here for just a minute, but I'm going to try to see if I can see some faces instead, so that if you have some questions or if there's something that you want me to go back into and drill down a little bit more, I can certainly do that. Yes, Peg.
Is there any kind of tech support for the non-techies?
There are. It depends on which program you choose. So, and depending, so like MailChimp comes with a 30-day kind of tech support, but I've always found a lot of times I can either Google the issue that I'm having. So I'll say like, for example, I can never remember the dimensions of the MailChimp header when I'm creating my headers for my newsletter. So I want to make sure that it fits properly. So like this part right here, that's like got my picture on it. I can never remember the dimensions. And then I always just Google it and look. But there's a help button. See down here at the bottom where that question is, where a lot of they have the frequently asked questions. But I've always found like their chat or any of those are really helpful, where I can just, chat and ask a question.
Thank you.
Some of them that you pay for will give you more access to like helpful things.
Constant Contact has a 800 number you can
Mhm.
call, and they will help you immediately.
Jennifer and Leah, I probably just have a couple comments, not really questions.
Mhm.
I'm the newsletter editor for Hendersonville Kiwanis, but I'm not the secretary. So the problem I'm facing is we're going to have to maintain multiple email lists, one for the newsletter, one for club news, one for, and I travel for work. I'm rarely at meetings. And so I don't know that new members have always joined if the secretary doesn't get me that information. So I think that was the advantage of Portal Buzz or a tool like that, is that everything was seamlessly integrated and you knew like, okay, it's going to go to all the members because we got their information from the secretary and they registered in the system. So I think that's a struggle that we're going to have. And I haven't figured out how to overcome that yet. And then I think the other thing, I took over the newsletter from a very seasoned newsletter editor who had done it for like 20 years when his wife got sick. And I've done it ever since, but it's probably been 6 or 7 years, maybe longer. But I'm still going off that 2-page sheet of how to be in a club award-winning newsletter. And that needs to be updated, because I'm still making sure there's a PDF copy that could be mailed, because you get 2 points for that. And I'm making a calendar for things that there's already a calendar for, because so Leah, if you could take that back to the district and just say, we need to really, if you're going to judge us on the newsletter, can we get some updated standards?
Sure.
And then hopefully, because I think my newsletter format and layout is very dated. It's a bifold, it meets the requirements, and it still has a president's corner. And I think that what we really need to communicate with our members is what's coming up, what were we successful at. We just had this fundraiser and we hit this goal, we made this mark, we did bell ringing, we did pancake breakfast, golf tournament, whatever we did, how we were successful. Here's the next thing that's coming up, here's how you can get involved. And that newsletter template isn't doing it. And I don't want to buck at it, because I want the points. But I think using these platforms, we're going to have to change and move to something a little more just informative. So that's all. Thank you.
That's really a great point, because what I'm realizing, if it's too long, they're gonna stop reading. They'll just click, and they're done. So, great point.
So Jennifer, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
My name's John. I'm from Southport.
Yeah.
So, and I know little to nothing about Google Docs, and I use email and Microsoft products exclusively. So where's the best place to go to get a really quick step up for Google Docs? Because it looks like that's going to be the backbone of this.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, if you, let me go over here and see. Mail track, if you're wanting to, well, that is a Google. That's a Google. So are you asking specifically about, let me see if this is what I'm looking for while I'm thinking about it. Are you asking because you want to, you feel like you need to move to Gmail, or you just want to learn more about Google?
I just want to learn more about it. So I the 28th or 29th of February comes along and I fall flat on my face because I can't email anybody.
Yeah.
Then I'm riding around on my bicycle hand delivering stuff. That's what I don't want to do.
Right. Now, are you using Portal Buzz?
Oh yeah, we use.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So yes, Gmail will work. Let me minimize this really quickly. This particular link talks about sending Gmail newsletters. So this is in the presentation, and it's right here at this top, sending a newsletter as an email. So this will provide you with a variety of like how to send a newsletter in Gmail. So this will give you kind of the top level things. And I will tell you, just like what I mentioned to Peg, most of the time, if I don't know something, I literally just type it in Google, and you can type a question out like, how do I, what's the best way to send marketing emails or mass emails and in Gmail, and it'll kind of tells you.
So do we have to download applications onto our own desktop machines to make this work, or is everything accessible online and in the cloud?
Right. Yeah. Online. It's all online. So Gmail is obviously that's an online email service. So you don't have to have anything on you don't have to download anything. The same with, so this is Canva that I'm using, and this is how I create a lot of all my social media and all of that. And this is a free website. And so they integrate nicely together because Canva is like the design element, and then I'll pop that into my newsletter when I'm using that.
So is the email portion of Portal Buzz the only? I don't know where this animal comes together, but if the email goes away, will we still be able to build the monthly reports with Portal Buzz, or how's that going to work?
No, Portal Buzz is going away completely.
Okay, so how do we do our reports then?
So you would go into Kiwanis Connect straight from kiwanis.org and you would click members only section, and then they have a button there that says log into Kiwanis Connect.
Okay.
John, that's the same thing we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So
question though, the number of users is something that I know our club is looking at, and for the free MailChimp, for example, it says it's one user, but I guess you could have more than one person that has the access to that. The only thing that you'd be restricted to is that only one person could use it at a time and be signed in.
I think that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So like
And
if you had
obviously-
it and I logged in at the same time, it would be like, what's happening? Yeah.
Right.
Which I don't know that. I don't know that would, I mean, how often that would occur.
I would think not that often.
Yeah,
And if
I'm
you
just
find
trying
it's
to
a
think.
problem, you can go to a paid version. Yeah.
Right. If you're
Where you get
really, if you've
multiple
got two users that are in it all the time, then yeah, definitely.
One other
I
thing I
know.
thought I'd mention for the group is that if you have a foundation or a not-for-profit that's a 501c3, there are discounts available for certain products, including Constant Contact.
Right.
If you go through a company called TechSoup,
Yes.
TechSoup, I don't think it charges you to join TechSoup, but you have to be a 501c3. And for Constant Contact, they charge a $56 kind of online fee to set it up, but then it's a 50% discount on the cost of Constant Contact. So there are some other things in, like Microsoft has discounts for not-for-profits. So if you have a C3 as part of your club, either your service fund, or if you in fact converted your club to a C3, which some have, you are eligible for certain discounts. And even I think MailChimp on their paid versions offers a discount if you have a C3.
Right.
All right.
And
Along with that question about the user that Joe asked about MailChimp, would that be applicable also to Constant Contact?
Yes. So with Constant Contact, like sometimes I have other people using my username to log in. What will happen is if it's not, they see your IP address and where you are. And if it's not the normal place that it is, they send me an email alert saying, we noticed your username and password were used in Charlotte, North Carolina. If this isn't you, please do XYZ. So they are tracking it. And they'll only let one in at a time. I think if you try to use the same username and password at the same exact time from different locations, you would just, one wouldn't be able to get in. It would error out.
And I've never had that experience, but I would guess that that's probably true. But
Jennifer, Claudia,
ma'am.
well, I have a question. All of these notes that you've put up, you're going to make these available somehow to us, so we don't have to write every little thing down.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yeah, and I was going to show you this one too, because this one might be of interest if you're not sure. MailChimp, I will say, like, as I researched, I was just trying to see, is there anything else out there that I could offer that's free? And I will say every list that I found that listed marketing platforms, MailChimp was usually number one that most people, it's the most common. And I don't know if it's because it's most user friendly, it's been around the longest, all of that. But saying that, if this is a link right here, you can click on that link and it's going to take you to 7 marketing platforms for nonprofits. And this actually, see, MailChimp's number one, but they do offer 15% discount for nonprofits. And then you can kind of just these are some other ones. I actually haven't used these before. Campaign Monitor. That's why I didn't really go into them, because I don't know, but these actually tell you, I have heard Flowdesk before. I don't know how I have, but they'll tell you a little bit more about it. And you can read in here, it'll give you a description, and you might realize that's really more for people that are trying to get money from, other people, like, all of those. So, but this gives you a nice little, info on it. And then of course you can click on it and it'll take you to the website and everything like that. But yeah, so I link that in there for you. There's a fair amount of resources in the document. So anything that's underlined is probably a hyperlink to a website. So you can dig around a little bit more. All right. What other questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, Claudia, you're muted.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm muted now.
You're good.
One of the things that we're a small club, and a lot of what we do is simple, and we could probably get by without anything, except that we would like to have some kind of event management opportunity. We do once in a while have a bigger event and we have a PayPal account and yada da. If we didn't get, and that is available on Constant Contact. We're strongly thinking about Constant Contact, but we're short of money this year. And so I'm trying to keep the cost down. And is there any event management stuff out there for free? Oh, free
Yes.
online form builder.
Yes. So this is what Circle K uses. We have used Constant Contact in the past, but their fees are kind of expensive. So this is what we use. It's very easy. I probably can't log in on this one because I'm not on the right Chrome setting, but we use this one. Let me do a quick switch and I'll show you the event management aspect of it. It is limited because we do use the free version, but JotForm is very good. It'll tie to different accounts if you want it to. There's some additional fees in there for it, but oh, here we go. It's already pinned to my page. All right. Move some stuff around here real quick so I can see where I'm going. But if you are short on money and you need something event management wise, and you want to try this out, this one is very easy, but you can, oh yeah, you can see integration. You can link to PayPal or Google Sheets or even MailChimp. You can
You're
see.
sharing on a different monitor. I
Oh
can't believe.
goodness, thank you. Let me
Sounds cool.
switch. Okay, well, let me see. I'll just stop sharing and then I'll switch. Oh,
I got another quick question, Jennifer.
yes.
What's the setup time to make this happen if we decide that our club decides to go with Constant Contact? What's the average number of hours or days to get this thing set up so that it works?
Oh, how long does it take you to set it up? Like if you were to switch over to MailChimp or something like that?
Right.
If you've got someone that knows how to download to an Excel spreadsheet and then upload to Constant Contact or MailChimp, it doesn't take you that long. And then just setting up your first email may take you a little bit longer because you're designing that element. But then once you have it designed, you can, just copy and paste it from month to month. So I would say your first setup, you might give yourself, I would give yourself a week just to, so you're not like stuck at your screen all day long. If you know how to download a list from, Kiwanis, just so you have your most updated email addresses, and then you do an upload. That process itself doesn't take probably more than 10-15 minutes at the most, unless you need to clean your list or something.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So this is JotForm. This is what I use, again, for district convention, and fall call. It's really easy. It has great reports. I use the free version, of it, but there's different pricing if you want that. But I can just show you the form really quickly if you want to see it. They have they have really simple build settings. It's just like all the other ones. So you can change the background. We drop the logo in here for that. And then you come through. It's kind of like using a Google form. If you've ever used Google Forms before, you've got, descriptions. I've got different pages. So they have to click next after they read stuff. And you just add your things in. And then the great thing about this is, we do district convention year after year. So if I were to go back to my main forms, you'll see I have the one from last year, and I just copy and create a copy of it. And that's what I did for fall call. So there's fall call from 2 years ago, this past year, and then this is the one coming up in 2024. So you can just click more and copy or clone. They call it clone on this one. instead of copy, clone it, and then you just go in and change what you need to. You want somebody that can edit it really well, because sometimes you end up saying you're going to Wilmington and you're really going to Durham. So make sure you have somebody that has a good eagle eye. Get your English majors out there. But yeah. Any other questions? Oh, I see there's something in the chat maybe. Yes, and Canva Pro is free to nonprofit. Yes, thank you, Mike. That's right.
Looks like Bebe has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh,
Oh, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
There you are. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you so much. It's been very, very helpful. I really appreciate what you're doing tonight, you and Leah. You mentioned, I think early on, like setting up a generic. Can you kind of explain those steps? We use email and attachments. Some of our members have constant contact. They have MailChimp, Event Manager, or Evite, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
These things kind of trickle through, but if we wanted to get like, I believe a systematic, consistent type of newsletter, can you experiment with a generic? Was that what you were referring to, or am I off base here?
Oh yeah. So I was just saying, like, you may want to set up like a club. So my Kiwanis Club is Kiwanis Club of Columbia. So we could easily set up Kiwanis Club of Columbia at gmail.com. We don't have a domain. But like, for example, Carolina CKI has a Google nonprofit workspace, which means we have like the expanded sharing of folders and that kind of stuff. So we actually have our domain name. So we have admin at Carolina CKI, which is what a lot of our, like all of our social media is set up under that. That's how we set that up. So it's under one login. And when we change administrators, it's easy. It's not like it's tied to my personal email, or it's not tied to Jennifer.Hescox at Carolina CKI. It's tied to the admin account. So when my husband was the admin assistant, I mean, he was the admin and then I was the assistant, it was an easy transition over. We just had everything under admin. So is that,
Yeah.
so, and then setting that up, it just depends what you want to do. If you want to do it at Yahoo or Gmail or what have you. Yeah. Any of those.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much.
All right. Well, we've got 3 minutes, so we can take another question and a half or.
Well, there was another comment in the chat that I don't know, Melissa, if you were aware, but it was towards your question about.
Saw it. Yeah, if I had
You saw
time to
that.
be secretary, it would be great. Like I
Well,
said, I
what they-
travel for work, and I'm
Well-
the technology person and can do the newsletter.
Right. So what they were saying was, you don't have to be secretary. Your club has the ability to make someone what's called assistant secretary. And when your club does that and puts you in the system as the assistant, what that gives you is the access rights to download that list of members or see the new members in real time. So you wouldn't be tied to waiting on the secretary.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm assuming you can download that to Excel and then upload it to somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But that's in Portal Buzz, right? So what are we doing next?
That's in Kiwanis Connect. If you were the assistant secretary, you would have that ability. The club secretary is and the assistant secretary are the only people that have that ability through Kiwanis Connect.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
Jennifer.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Edward in Charleston. I appreciate you doing this. Very informative. Thank you so much. Can you flash your email address back up again?
Sure.
One more time?
I sure can. Figure out which one I put it on. Let me switch back. Here. And I'll make sure Leah has this and she can send that back out to you, but there's my email. Please feel free if you have any questions, email me. I talk about Kiwanis and stuff like that all the time. So, I'm happy to help. And if you have any questions, I know at mid-year, if you're signed up for that, we're doing a PR workshop, so I'll give a little plug on that. It's not actually on email this time. It's on videoing. So using video for public relations. So you can embed a video. You can even make a GIF or a GIF, whichever way you say it, to attract more people to look at your newsletter. So that's also available, and you can add those kind of little short videos in MailChimp and Constant Contact. So those are all things that you can come to the workshop, and past Governor Joe here on the call, and then Ryan, our PR chair, will be leading that workshop at mid-year conference.
And mid-year conference registration closes this evening. So if you haven't registered yet and you would like some more great information for people like Jennifer, now's the time to sign up.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here this evening. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I appreciate your questions and your time and all that you do for Kiwanis.
Catherine had made one statement in the chat.
Yes. Oh, let me see what that is. Yes, that's a good idea. So if you are sending it out via email and you're embedding it in your email, definitely sending it to yourself first to make sure that everything looks right, and checking and all of the, I will say Constant Contact and MailChimp do have the ability to do a test email first. So I always either send it to myself or I'll send it to my husband and say, hey, make sure you can open these attachments or open these links. So that's a great, great thing. So.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, so much for being here tonight. We will have another seminar next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the Kiwanis International free website platform that they make available to clubs. So if you are on PortalBuzz and use them and need a new system, we will have Bryce Kinder from Kiwanis International, the man behind the help desk for the new website portal at available through Kiwanis.org. So it's free. You've already signed up. You'll be getting a reminder on Monday that event will be happening on Tuesday, and we hope to see you back then.